Hey, today on the show, we've got Mike Reno from the band Loverboy. So many hits with this band, Working for the Weekend, Turn Me Loose, The Kid is Hot Tonight, so many more. And he's here to talk about his new single Release that the band put out, really catchy song. They've got a tour with Styx and REO Speedwagon, and of course, lots of great stories from the past. So it's all coming up right now. Please welcome Mike Reno to the show. How you doing, Mike?
I'm great, thanks, Chuck.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, how's your ankle? Did you break your ankle? Was that recent? I heard you talking about it. I don't know how recent that was, though.
You know what? I've broken it 3 times, and it's usually always related to falling, stairs breaking or the stage broke or something. Anyway, so it's always rock and roll related, and it's I can walk on it. It's not like crazy. It's not broken now, but when you get a little older, these old injuries come back to haunt you.
Oh, that's tough. So then you have to you tape it up or something. I heard you say, is that how you deal with it?
Do you know football players, they tape up pretty well before a game? We're going to be kind of like that.
Okay, nice. So as long as I remember one time I saw this band and their bass player had just had her appendix out. And so she sat down, but she still played. So as long as you can still sing.
No, you know what it is? It's just, I think a lot of us, the band, are in our 60s, and we tend to, all the things that happened in the early days come back to haunt you. So we're all going to be there. We're going to be rocking. We're going to be having a good time. It's a crazy bunch of shows we got this year. I can't even believe I accepted all that, but we're doing it.
Yeah. So it is 85 shows with Styx and REO Speedwagon. I mean, that's quite a package.
There's a lot of shows here. I don't know if it's 85, but there's a lot of shows here going to pretty much the end of September.
Okay. But that's what you usually do, is about 85 shows a year in America plus worldwide tour. I mean, that's a lot of shows.
Yeah, we do a lot of shows generally. However, Chuck, we haven't played for 2 years, together. We all practice on our own and stuff like that, but we haven't been together for 2 years up until, and March 9th is going to be the first show in the last 2 years.
And how many rehearsals do you have to do before that first show? Or is it like you've already done it? It's like riding a bike.
It's kind of like riding a bike, but we're definitely going to get together for at least one full day before the show on the 9th in close to Pittsburgh.
Okay. And so the set list, I mean, of course you're going to play the hits, but you're going to throw anything fun in there? Like I know you did a snippet of the Doors Riders on the Storm. Are you still going to do that? Or?
We just do that for fun. It's kind of in the middle of one of our songs. We just break away and then we come back to our song. I don't know if we're going to do that still. We might, but we did record a new song recently. We might throw that one in, and we kind of did it a whole different way. We used to record all in the same room. This time we recorded in different houses. Sent via
and then
internet.
you have to email it to each other?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the Release song, right? This song is so good. It's in my head. Actually, it's in my head right now. I was just listening to it and saw the video.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's how we did it. Paul and I put it together at my place. And I sang it. After that, we sent it to Doug. He played keyboards. We sent it to Matt. He played drums. We sent it to Spider, our bass player. And this is, going from one city to the other. And isn't the internet a wonderful thing?
Yeah, it's amazing. So wait, who did the production on it though? Because it sounds so like high quality production. Like in the 80s, this would have cost you $5 million to make this song, I would think.
Yes, you're close. I thought you stopped exaggerating 6 million years ago, Chuck. That's good. No, you know what? Paul produced it. He spent some time at it, and he's kind of a stickler for good sounds. And so we're really proud of him. Thank you, Paul, if you're listening.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. It's like I said, it's just a really catchy song. So is that just, you guys are just going to be doing singles now? You're not going to make a full album just because of the way the music business is then?
Kind of. I've said it a few times in different interviews I've done. It's kind of hard these days when everybody's just so interested in instant gratification. They have the attention span of about, 5 minutes. And then everybody wants something different. You want something new. In 1 hour, you want to hear 14 different records. So I think a single now and again is the way to go. But that's just my personal belief. I would love to do another album, and I'd love to all be in the same room doing it. But we'll see how that pans out.
What about you as a music fan? Do you still try to buy the albums if there is albums coming out, or do you listen to these streaming services, or how do you listen to music?
Alexa, play Steely Dan. That's how I listen to music.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
It does make it easier with that. I mean, I guess there's pluses and minuses, but I do feel bad for artists. I mean, at least you still have the royalties and all the movie and TV stuff that you get, commercials and things you get paid for.
You know, it's okay. We're doing okay that way. It's just that the last 2 years kind of took a little wind out of our sails. I mean, I can't wait to get back personally. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to take a little getting used to again. You know, a 2-year break is a nice way to recharge. And I think we're heading into the 3rd year. I think we've all just about had enough of this, Chuck.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to. I've already seen some shows that some bands have already started back up, and it's amazing to see live music again. And people, we just saw a concert outside, so I felt like I think we're going to be okay. We're outside; it seems safe, and everyone was having a good time.
Yeah, another thing too. I think this the COVID thing is going to go around and then it's going to go away. It's just like I think everybody's probably going to get it, and then you're going to deal with it in your own way. Those who are vaccinated probably won't suffer much. And after you got it, it just goes away. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I hope so. Or I mean, it may it's going to weaken enough to where it'll just hopefully be like the flu, that most people will have it and get over it, and then we'll move on with life. That's what I'm hoping.
You know, in my lifetime, I have never experienced anything like this.
Yeah, it's strange for me too. I mean, gosh, I mean, times have changed even in my lifetime, but your lifetime too. I mean, I was listening to an interview. It was so fascinating that you had started out, your story is so inspiring that you had a paper out at 11 and you saved up your money to buy this drum set that's how you wanted to start in music, is play the drums. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's it. I had a big brother that was really great at kind of making me join in. You know, sometimes you want to get rid of your little brother. In this case,
Yeah.
he always got me involved. He was older than me, so he played guitar. I started playing drums and singing background harmonies. It was kind of a nice way to grow up.
Yeah. So when you decided that you were going to be a musician full time, was there somebody that had kind of given you, I mean, there must have been some internal awareness that you were good, but was there somebody that really big that had said, hey, you got it, you're going to make it in this business, kid, or something like that? Or what was it, just the internal thing that drove you?
It was it was internal. There was never anything else I wanted to do. And I never even thought about doing anything else. Occasionally at the beginning, I would do something to make some money, because sometimes when you first start out in music, you don't make much money and you got to pay the rent like everybody else. So I used to like work on construction crews or do whatever was necessary, you know, just to make a bit of money. But it was never anything I wanted to do forever. Music was the only thing I ever wanted to do.
Yeah, no, I thought that was so cool. You were in this band Moxy. That was one of your first bands, and you left because, quote, correct me if I'm wrong, that they didn't want to work as hard as you. And that must have been accurate, because I've heard of Mike Reno. I had never heard of the band Moxy before this. So you must have been onto something there.
It's just, you know, they were a great bunch of guys, and I did 3 years with them in one album. It was the time when I learned how to write songs. It came right out of kind of the need to write songs, because everybody said, let's go in the studio. And I went, well, we better write some songs, you know. And so we had some opportunities, and then it just kind of, the fire kind of got dim, and I wanted still to raise a little hell. And I didn't want to, you know, rest on the laurels of the band. They had a few records out before me. Their singer was killed in a motorcycle accident, and I was kind of put in the position, but I wasn't the same kind of singer as their singer. So it was a little uncomfortable for me being in that band. But, you know, I did it. I did it for as long as I could. And then I wanted to search for more.
Yeah. And so you found it with Coverboy originally, or sorry, it was Coverboy originally, and then it's Loverboy. But tell me about your manager, Bruce Allen, because I heard you say that he got you guys the same deal that Michael Jackson had, which was like unheard of. So you got to retain a majority of your publishing rights, because that's a big deal in the music business, right?
It was a very big deal. And Bruce really dug deep for us. He was a really hard worker. He started off as managing the BTO, Buckman Turner Overdrive. And so he'd been in the game for about 10 years. And when they decided to kind of hang it up and not tour as much and stop doing records, we were the next choice for Bruce, and Bruce took really good care of us. He really did, and he got us a fabulous deal. Which today I can say thanks very much, Bruce Allen, for sure.
Right. So that, because that deal stays the same from that time. Does it ever expire and then you have to re-up the deal, or how's that work?
Well, you can after 25 or 30 years, and I think we're kind of thinking about doing it right now, just because all the debts to our CBS records or Columbia records is basically they've been paid 10 times over. So it's not like they should get anything anymore, really, other than the fact that we were all started together. So we're all still in it together. You can look at it that way too.
That's pretty cool. So, and I see a lot of musicians are selling their music as they get older. It's kind of like you could sell it, the rights to it for, I think that's what Neil Young did. They said he sold his music for 50 million.
That's a lot of millions. I mean, how much do you really need, huh? In this
Yeah.
world? I'm not dying to receive a whole bunch of money, because all that is creates tax problems, in my opinion. And so I'm just happy. I don't mind the trickle system.
Yeah. The mailbox money, as you call it, I believe, right?
That is what I call it, man. Chuck, you really kind of know me, don't you, man?
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, I heard so many of these stories, like all these questions I had, you answered most of them in interviews I've listened to. Tell my audience the story of you guys opening for Kiss in 1979. That's kind of interesting story.
Well, this came kind of right out of the blue. We were just rehearsing songs and recording little demos on 8-track demo type machines. And Bruce Allen, once again, gives me a call and says, Reno, get the guys together. You're playing tonight. I said, we're playing where, Bruce? I said, we don't even have a bass player. He says, well, find a bass player. You're playing in the Coliseum, warming up for Kiss. And I went, hold it. What are you talking about? He says, just get it together. I'll see you there. Bye. Click. And I kind of went, what is going on? As I find out later, the group, the New York Dolls, were refused entry at the border in Vancouver, from United States to Canada. It's like 20 miles away, right? Boom, there's the border. I guess they were coming up from Seattle, and Canada said, no, thank you to the New York Dolls. For whatever reason, it had to probably do with something,
Oh, I thought it was because they didn't have visas or something.
It could have been that too.
Okay.
But we don't actually, Canada's never required musicians to have visas to work in Canada. However, I have to have a visa to work in the United States, which I'd like to talk to your president about in the next little while.
Oh, okay. How do you change that rule then?
I don't know, just to tell them it's just an expense. We're down here playing constantly. We play most of our shows in the United States, and we pay taxes. So we're paying taxes. We're contributing to society. Why do we have to pay to lawyers to get us these visas? It really doesn't seem fair. If we're going to get paid lawyers to get the visas, how about we don't pay the taxes? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, you have to pay lawyers to get a visa? I don't understand.
Well, in order to get it all arranged through the government, you got to send an entertainment lawyer. It takes a few weeks, and then they have to do documents on not only the band but also the road crew. So there's 10 or 11, maybe even 13, 14 people on the visa, because we have put extra people on it. So it's like, $2,500 per man or per person.
Oh, so it's a little more complicated than just showing a regular visa as you cross. You have to have a special working visa.
That's right. It's called an O1 or an O2. And it's kind of, it's nothing we really deal with technically. You just have a piece of paper and you show it to them and they go, okay, go ahead. But the paying of taxes we've been doing for 41 years. And, I kind of wish I had a little say in a few matters that happened out here after paying all those taxes. But
is that why so many American movie companies go to Vancouver? Is because is this a sort of tax break where they can go and make movies there cheaper than, it must be cheaper than California, I'm sure, but.
Well, here's the thing with the movie making, Chuck. A city, let's say like Calgary or Vancouver or Montreal or even Toronto, Winnipeg, they will offer a tax break if you come and do your whole production in their community.
Yeah.
And also, when you have to pay for the production, you pay in Canadian dollars using American dollars, so you get about 30% extra. Because the your American dollar is worth about 30 cents more right now. than the Canadian dollar. So between the tax breaks and the price difference in the dollar, you know, they're saving a lot of money by doing these productions in Canada. And I was watching the show last night. I think they recorded it in Vancouver, and I could see all the stuff in Vancouver, but they're supposed to be somewhere like in New Mexico or something, or somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
or Virginia or something. Then it's obviously Vancouver, but
Oh yeah, they do that all the time. See, I'm from Seattle. I used to go drive up to Vancouver to drink because you only had to be 19. But I'd see these movies and they'd say like, "Oh, it's in Seattle." I'm like, "That's Vancouver," and I get so mad. I'm like, "Why can't they film in real Seattle?"
Well, thank you, Chuck, for noticing. I notice it all the time too. So does my
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah. What is the Bates Motel? I think that was one that was filmed up there. That looked really cool. I wanted to go to that. I think they tore down the stage though, but it looked really, or the studio or whatever where it was filmed looked cool.
Yeah. No, for sure.
There's a lot of those. And then you record a lot in Vancouver. And so you had all these, other musicians that you worked with, like the song Jump that you wrote, you co-wrote that with Bryan Adams and Jim Vallance. Tell me about working with those two heavyweights, because those guys are both amazing songwriters.
They are amazing, and they've done some amazing songwriting over the years. I think in the case of Jump, it was a song basically they put together and they'd offered it to us. And then we changed it around, and that's how the co-write happened. There was a whole section missing that we needed just to give it the Loverboy thing. And so we ended up writing a whole new bridge. And so it became a co-write between those two guys and Paul and I. And that happens a lot with songwriting. You know, somebody will give you a song, but you change it just because it has to fit your brand. And Jim Vallance is a fantastic writer, a great guy. I had a wonderful studio up there. And Bryan Adams, of course, we all know how well he's done. He's written songs for everybody. And we're quite proud to call those guys Vancouverites.
Yeah. So is that the same way with John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora? I know you guys did a couple songs with them. They gave you a song and then you reworked it?
Actually, Paul and Richie and John worked that song out together. And then when they came back to Vancouver, I was unavailable. We started recording it, and I said, well, we got to go here instead of there. And we made some changes, very similar kind of idea, just give it the old Loverboy touch. And that became a co-write as well.
Yeah, that was notorious. And I think you also, there was one that went on Paul's solo record, I think, that you got a credit for too.
Yeah, a bunch. Paul did a few solo projects in his spare time. He's always writing and recording and doing all the extra stuff. He just loves that studio work. Yeah,
that's so cool. And then the song Almost Paradise that you did the duet for Footloose with Ann Wilson, you said that you handpicked Ann Wilson. You could pick anybody. Now, if she would have turned you down, who would have been your second choice? Would Stevie Nicks, Lita Ford, Pat Benatar? Did you have a second person in mind?
Nope, never had a second person in mind. I went in full confidence that she would do it. You know, it's kind of one of those songs. When I first heard it, I went, "That's a smash." I just went, "That's a smash hit," and it was written by
Eric Carmen. Now, why didn't he want it for himself?
I don't know. It was a song, and it was chosen. The movie company loved it. Eric Carmen's written a lot of songs, and he's one of those guys who writes a lot of songs as well. But when it was given to me in a bed track, and they said you could pick whoever you want, I just went, well, I don't know if you know this, but Hart lived in Vancouver for about 11 years.
Yeah, no, I think I did hear some of there, and they were originally from Seattle as well. So, but yeah, that makes sense that they would be in Vancouver. That's very close. Very cool.
I think they ended up in Canada too. I think their boyfriends were trying to avoid the draft, as it were.
Oh,
you know, they were like saying, "Well, you're at the age now where you can join the army." He goes, "Join the army? I'm in a freaking rock band. I'm not joining no army." And I don't blame him for coming. And we loved having him there.
Was there a war at the time though? I guess there's always some sort of war going on. It seems like
they were getting ready for some shenanigans.
Okay, yeah, it seems like a very common thing that would happen is go to Canada and hide out.
Now that could just be. I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. I shouldn't really pass rumors around like that. It could have been. You know
sure
what?
You should. This is how we get headlines. We talk about rumors. We talk about gossip. That's how we get the headlines.
True. It was a great town to live in. So and there was a lot of music venues back then. There's not so much now, but there was a lot of music. There was bands playing everywhere. So it was very competitive, and there was a lot of work, and it was kind of fun. You know, Vancouver's a fun town.
Yeah, and tell me about this then. You were recording next to Aerosmith and Motley Crue. There's got to be some sort of, you got to give me a Motley Crue story. There's got to be some craziness that happened if they're recording next to you, right?
I think I was away during the Motley Crue stuff, but they were always in the studio. When what happened was we kind of recorded there, and when we became very successful, people went, "Where the hell did these guys cut that album?" You know, and
Oh,
so they researched it, and then next thing you know, the studio was too booked for us to even go back and do our second album. So we had to do our second album in the same studio they cut Dreamboat Annie by Heart, just down the road, a place called Mushroom
okay.
Studios. And then every once in a while we'd pop by Little Mountain Sound, and there'd be like Aerosmith or Motley Crue or Bon Jovi were always up there recording. So they basically got our engineer and our producer. And if you read the back of these album covers, you'll see that Bob Rock engineered and produced a lot of the same stuff that, and he started with us, and that was his first project. So
Yeah. So what did you see his talent at that point? I mean, he must have been really good, but he's still being an engineer for several years, like three or four of your albums, I think.
well, yeah, he was twisting the knobs, and that's kind of, and I think he learned a lot of his production chops by being in the studio, because the studio is a whole different animal. There's nobody really watching you. You know, there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of time, and you have to be able to kind of pace yourself to do like a 12-hour a stint, you know, rather than a 2-hour show, which is all excitement and pizzazz. The studio, there's a lot of just hard work that you just have to do, repetitive hard work. And I guess Bob learned that off Bruce Fairbairn, how to handle it, what to do. And Bob went on to become a super huge, very famous producer. And so did our second engineer, Mike Fraser, for that matter.
Yeah, and then I think also did Mark, what's his name, Mark Dodson? I think he engineered one of your albums too, and he went on to produce Judas Priest and Anthrax and
Yeah, oh yeah. He was an engineer for our "Lovin' Every Minute" of him album, and it was produced by Tom Allum, who also worked on those same bands you mentioned.
yeah, that's really cool. I love the story too, how Mutt Lange gave you guys that song. So he played it for you over the phone. Did he play all the instruments on it, or who was like singing and doing the guitars and stuff?
Well, it was a recorded project, and to be honest with you, I don't know who recorded it. It was
Okay.
done in England, and so in order for us to get it, he would have had to mail it. Now, I know this is kind of hard to believe for some of your viewers, but email wasn't even there yet.
Right.
Never mind sending a whole song. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then, so all we had, the only way, and we needed it really quick because we were finished in the studio by the end of the week, and I think it was Thursday. So then he said, "Why don't you just play it for us over the phone?" So we recorded it off the phone, just, and then we just picked it apart, went in the studio and banged it off. It was really quite a lot of fun. So we put a little bit of our own pizzazz into it, and I don't know, it's done very well for us. So
I
yeah.
love that song. It is, but I never knew that the Mutt Lange thing until I heard you talking about it. And then when I listen to it now, I go, okay, I could totally, because obviously he worked with Def Leppard. I could have hear Def Leppard doing that song as well. Like that,
Oh, so
it
can
could
I?
have
That would have been
easily
a great
ended up
song.
on one of their albums.
Yeah, it would have been a great song for them.
I think you had Jamie St. James and Tommy Thayer from the band Black and Blue sing backup vocals on that. I don't know if it was on that song, but on the album somewhere. And of course, Tommy goes on to be the guitar player for Kiss. So now we're like full circle.
Was Tommy Thayer in Black and Blue?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's why I saw him before, because I've become friends with Tommy over the years. Different things that we've done, and he's asked me to do some tournaments that he does for golfing, just to raise money for his charity. But I haven't seen him in a while. But he was a great guy. Well, it was one of those things where there's two studios in Little Mountain. So if you pop by to say hi, there's usually a bunch of people around. So it's kind of a nice thing to do. Pop by and say
Mhm.
hi. And when you're there, if somebody says, "Can you come in and sing, whoa, living on a prayer?" You don't say no. You just go in and do it. And then you do it 10 times, and then you got yourself 100 voices.
And you
10
did that
times.
on you're on Living on a Prayer. You're on the backup vocals.
I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah, that's really
I
cool.
wouldn't doubt it. Somebody, I don't know. I did a lot of things like that. I remember, and a lot of people did it for us too. They'd come in and they'd sing
Yeah.
"Loving Every Minute of It." So it
How do
was
you
whoever
keep
was
track
around.
of those credits though? Is somebody in charge of keeping track of, or do you get royalties or is it just like this is a freebie, whatever?
Oh, you just freebies. You
Yeah.
don't ask for anything. You don't even ask for money. You're doing favors for everybody. It's kind of like a barn raising, a good old fashioned barn raising.
Okay. Yeah, God, you guys have toured with so many great bands. Which ones stick out to you? Because I have this giant list. I mean, I could ask you about all these, but we're obviously strapped for time.
I'll tell you one thing. When we first went out, we played with one of the best bands in the world, Kansas. I
Yeah.
loved the voice of Steve Walsh and the drums. It was just a great band all the way around. And like every night, I just wanted to listen to the whole set. But we had to leave halfway through the set and drive to the next town because we were on tour. And then for the next tour, we got lined up with ZZ Top. Now, come on. I mean, I go to ZZ Top concert and how about doing 80 concerts with ZZ Top, and you're on stage with them. We became friends with these people. I mean, this is fun. And then they throw us out there with Journey, and Journey was promoting their Escape album, and we were promoting our Get Lucky album. So it was like two great albums. I think it was the tour of the year. Really, I could say that hopefully humbly. And that was, and then we started headlining. So it's been like a wonderful ride.
That's so cool. So, and you won, I heard you say you won 7 Juno Awards, which is like the Canadian Grammy, but that it wasn't your highlight. Your highlight was playing American Bandstand. Is that still your biggest highlight for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know, American Bandstand isn't even on anymore, but back then, if you hit American Bandstand, you were pretty much guaranteed to sing a song for about 10 million people every Saturday.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
even
was a big deal.
Yeah, maybe even more. I may have undercut it by 6 times. It could have been 60 million people for all I know. But American Bandstand was a big deal. So if you played American Bandstand, then you really had something, and you knew your life was about to change. So that's why it's important to me. When we got asked to play American Bandstand the first time, it was like, wow, this is really it. And then we got to know Dick Clark, and he asked Paul and I to do American Music Awards a few times and hand out awards. And, it was really it was great. American Bandstand was a big deal for me.
That must be a big part of your success too, is being able to build these relationships with people. I mean, all these bands keep asking you to continue to tour with them. I mean, you guys must be easy to get along with.
Well, we're pretty easy to get along with. You know what they say, we just keep our heads down and we do our thing. That's what our manager always told us to do. Just play your concerts and move on down the road. We became friends with these guys just because I think it's a mutual admiration. We loved them, they loved us. It's nice, and that's how friendships develop, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it's been an amazing career, and it's still going. This is a great package. It starts in, I was going to say summer, but I think it's starting sooner than that. Is it starting in March?
May 31st is when the tour with Styx and REO Speedwagon start. March 9th, we start up and do about 18, 22 concerts on our own.
Okay.
There was a lot of this stuff was postponed, and now we're starting to pick up on all the postponements, and we're going to go back and redo those shows.
Okay, perfect. And then I know you got to get out of here, but I do like to end each episode with a charity. Is there one that you've worked with or you want to give a shout out to here at the end?
Yeah, juvenile diabetes is one that we always, the JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
Absolutely, I've promoted them.
That has been something that we've been involved with for about 20 years.
Okay, great. Well, I'll put that in the notes along with the Loverboy website, and people should check you out, and also the new song release. It's, like I said, it's super catchy. So thanks so much for doing this, Mike. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Chuck. Thanks. It's been great talking to you.
You too. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. Some questions that I didn't get to, so hopefully I can have Mike back on the show. Again, so many great stories. Some things we didn't get to talk about, like the Get Lucky album cover. So what I read about that one was the person on the cover is actually the daughter of the photographer because she was the only one who could fit into the red leather pants. And a sad story about that is she later died in a car accident in her 20s. So lots of interesting rock history with Loverboy. So we'll have to have Mike on the show again, or maybe another member of the band. So make sure to subscribe or follow my show wherever you watch or listen. And of course, follow me on social media and Loverboy on social media, and check Loverboy website for the current tour dates. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and remember to shoot for the moon.